Hi, my name is Shiori Johnson, and for my project, I will be focusing on protein intake among young adults in Jacksonville, Florida. So, this nutrition specific issue that I'm planning on addressing is that many young adults either consume too little protein or rely too heavily on protein supplementation without understanding their needs. And many young adults tend to struggle to achieve balanced protein intake. Some individuals have limited food budget or might not consume food items that contain those protein rich nutrients or consume an excessive amount of those protein supplements. There's a lot of confusion about how much of that protein is needed and which foods contribute to protein intake, and this causes many young adults to result on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter for protein needs and follow those advice from individuals that don't have any nutritional background. And in this situation, my proposed solution is to hopefully provide nutrition education among community outreach and social media platforms. Since I do have a lot of friends that tend to work out a lot, they tend to rely heavily on those social media preferences and not really understand the way to consume which ways to consume protein that's adequate enough for their nutritional needs. And then with those community outreach programs or those social media platforms, I would provide those evidence-based content that would educate those young adults. So using resources that would provide me to develop a plan to hopefully help people out. And then you would basically meet their protein needs through those everyday foods such as dairy products, eggs, beans, lentils, seeds, and whole grains, poultry, seafood, just giving a variety to kind of help them out, and even trying to implement with cultural preferences if someone prefers to eat certain things and other things. What I hope to gain from this experience is gaining confidence on being able to provide the accurate and evidence-based nutritional information. So being able to learn different ways during this age and being able to translate it to evidence-based information that would help individuals in the long term, especially with those that have been working out and using online platforms. It's really helpful to be able to understand how does protein get processed in your body and like how to find certain things in the store that might help you out in trying to make those meal plans, because I've been in the same situation before and had an experience of working out when I used to lift back in college and used to swim in high school and everything. And what I can provide from that personal experience, also including that, would be like my hospital food service background. So there are people that with high protein needs, and there's a lot of variety of different types of sources of protein and how to form your plate through like my plate, for example. And then also working the NICU, I work with different backgrounds of people and then populations, and this kind of strengthens my ability on how to communicate with those diverse groups. So the only pitfall or like a worry that I have with this experience is trying to gain the attention, because people tend to follow through with what their favorite influencer says, or like they've seen something online and they start to believe those things. And also trying to find the right audience, and also affordability, since people tend, especially college students or young adults, tend to have a lack of affordability sometimes, and depending on their financial situation is different for everyone. Also, people's backlash on what they believe is right or wrong. It's trying to understand or teach them that this is evidence-based nutrition. So coming from the background that I have in the education that I brought through my master's degree, I can help guide them to the right answer to these protein needs. And to overcome these challenges, I just want to plan to emphasize that educational background and nutrition advice through evidence-based recommendations, and then incorporating flexibility among those food choices and making it more palatable, or like instead of the same meals all the time, since usually people will be like chicken, rice, or some type of veggie. And from this project, I get an opportunity to kind of utilize all my resources to improve my nutritional knowledge and kind of understand the community through young adults in Jacksonville. So thank you for listening in, and I hope to gain something, an experience from this.